Let's continue on with Name Segmenter by moving to the Output tab. The first field here is the output type. And there are a number of ways that you can get your list of names. You can get it in number 10 envelopes, you can get an address phone list. There are several Avery label formats. There is the comma delimited and comma separated files and other database type formats. You have Excel and 3 different email possibilities. Most of these are self-explanatory, so let's talk about Excel and the email outputs. When you choose Excel, you must also choose a sort order. Of course, you could also change the sort order in the spreadsheet itself, but you do have to choose something here. At this point, if you click the Run Segment link at the top, Denari will put the file in your inbox. The file contains a number of name-related fields. If you remember the rule, the name segment outputs name characteristics, so you don't get specific gift information from Name Segmenter. You'll get things like the name and address fields, email fields, jurisdiction, caseworker, etc., etc. You'll also notice here that when you select Excel, several checkbox fields open up. Checking these boxes will add fields to the Excel output. If you check Include Statistics, that will give or add additional giving statistics type fields. And they are things like last gift amount, last gift date, largest gift, smallest gift, average gift, year to date, life to date, and more. And remember, these are giving statistics fields, not gift information. We don't need to talk about all of these fields here, but we need to talk about classifications. It's possible that you could have hundreds of classifications accumulated over time. The classifications are displayed in the spreadsheet as columns with a check in the cell for those donors that have each classification. Excel will only display 256 columns. That's not a Denari thing, it's an Excel thing. The spreadsheet that Denari creates without any boxes checked is already pretty large. If you add hundreds of more columns, Excel will cut them off. So Denari gives you a way to choose the ones you want. So let's leave the name segment. We'll go to the plus sign and then click on classifications. And I'll just select one here to demonstrate. At the bottom is the export name field. If you put something in that field and you check the include classification checkbox in the name segment, Denari will include this classification as one of the columns. If you leave it blank, it will not be included in the output. So if you have 10 or so classifications that you want to report on regularly, you can set them up with an export name here and then control the size of the name segment output. Or if you want to run a name segment and include a field that has not previously been included, you can come here and put something in that field just for that report, then remove it after you've run the name segment if you want. Okay, so now let's go back to the name segment. And again, we'll go back to the Output tab. And now let's look at the 3 email output options. The first option is simply called Email. When we select that option, we get the From and the Subject fields. The From field shows a list of registered emailers that have previously been set up. Your selection here will be what the recipient sees as being the sender of the email. The subject is just like any other subject line in your normal email process. We'll come back and discuss how we set up these registered emailers in a few minutes. We also have the letter body field. This is a text field. You can't underline, bold, etc. here. It's just simple text, and this option is intended to allow you to send a simple basic email to those names identified by your filters. You could, for example, send a quick message to your board members by classifying them and then selecting that classification in Classes In. To run the segment, click the Run Segment link at the top of the page. Denari now begins sending emails. There's no stopping them, so it's a good idea to be sure that you're sending them to the group you want. It may be a good idea to choose Excel as your output prior to running the emails to give you a chance to review the list of names and then change it to email option and run the segment again to send the emails. A quick note here. The email outputs from Name Segmenter is not intended to compete with more sophisticated email programs like Constant Contact and others. It does not track bounces or provide for opting out. These options are intended to give you a way to send basic emails to segments of your names as quickly and easily as possible. If you need the more sophisticated features, one option is to output your list of segmented names to Excel and then upload that to the third-party program. The second email option here is HTML email. You get the same fields as with the previous output, but the letter body field here is a little different. It allows you to enter a web address or URL. Let's say, for example, that you publish a newsletter and put that on your website. That page now has a URL. You can simply enter that here. So let me type an example. Now, when you click on Run Segment, Denari will grab that page from your website and make it the body of the email. The last email option is the HTML email segment file. Choosing this option gives us a link to the HTML editor. I won't go into details of the HTML editor here. There is a separate video on that topic. However, the editor allows you to create a basic web page. You can underline, bold, add photos and links, etc. After designing the page, click Save, and your mini web page becomes the body of your email. Again, click Run Segment, and off they go. One small problem with this email option is that you will probably want to see what it looks like before you send it. There is no simple click to be able to do this. One suggestion is to create a classification called Test Email and assign that just to your name record. Select that in Classes In and then run the segment. Only you will get the email. Once you have it looking the way you want, remove that classification and put in the filters that you want to get the group of names you want to send the email, and then run the segment again to send those emails out. As mentioned way back at the beginning, segments can be saved and used over and over again when needed. Simply click Save and it becomes available for the future. I'll click the lookup button here at the top to take us back to the original name segment page. Again, here we see the list of all the segments that have been previously created. Simply search for the one you want, open it, click on the Output tab and run the segment. Denari will then apply the filters and produce a list of names. Earlier we mentioned this From field contains a list of email senders. These are staff people that are set up by you, and they will show in the recipient's email as being the sender of the email. In other words, if the donor would click on reply in their email program, it's going to come back to this email sender. Let's take a look at where we set that up. We do that by going to the email button on the left and then email senders. And this is fairly simple. You'll just click Add New to create a new one and fill in the email address and the signature. And that's all there is to it. Click Save and that person will now be available in that drop-down field. This concludes the videos on Name Segmenter. If you have any questions, you can contact tech support through the Help button at the top of the Denari page.